Hey, good morning, friends. I'm so glad you decided to join me to get your day started with a biblical perspective. Today, we're going to continue in the Unflannel Graph Stories series with an interesting and maybe highly debated and kind of controversial topic, so buckle up. Here we go. Before diving too deep into today's topic, I do want to start with a disclaimer. When it comes to today's episode, there are many theories, rabbit holes, tangents, discussions, and arguments when it comes to this topic. This subject is often a sensational one and may be approached with some hyperbolic embellishment. And I'm not going to say I don't enjoy maybe a little conspiracy theory, research, off the beaten path topics or debates. However, when approaching scripture, I do believe in approaching all teachings and guidance with earnest, seriousness, and responsibility. But as I said when we started the Unflannel Graph Story series, I did want to do some stories that are going to take me out of my comfort zone, maybe you too, and have us roll up our sleeves and really have to dig in and complete the research. And this topic has really delivered. So friends, I'm going to be approaching this topic with different arguments so you can kind of hear the different sides. I will say right here and now, I don't really know what stance I have on this topic as I've been doing research, so I'm going to lay it all out there for you and you guys can come to your own conclusions. I'm also going to be trying to find some biblical application from this topic that we can apply in our day-to-day lives. So, without further ado, let's start our Unflannel Graph story for today, and probably the next few episodes, the Nephilim. The Nephilim have their main debut in Genesis 6. It says, "When man began to multiply on the face of the land and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose." Okay, sorry, already taking a time out. In order to get into the topic of the Nephilim, it's important to look at the first group of people, the beings being discussed in this passage, another highly contested group of people, the sons of God. So, as we approach the question, who were the sons of God, there are two well-known approaches to this topic. One leans more towards the logical and one leans more towards the supernatural. When looking at the scripture, it doesn't really give us a clear synopsis, black and white, of who the sons of God were. However, I think it is important to at least hear these theories out. The first two are more logical explanations. So the first one is that the phrase sons of God refers to legit human kings, like human royalty. Back in the day, kings were often considered godlike by their subjects. In this view, these kings went around their kingdoms, scooping up all the beautiful ladies and using them for their own personal pleasure. And while this is definitely not really a supernatural or sensational idea, this theory does not offer an explanation of why these beautiful women, and I'm assuming semi-attractive and more likely fit maybe kings, produced giant children that brought so much evil into the world it contributed to the destruction of all mankind through God's flood. The second and more logical theory is called the Seth line theory. This argues that the sons of God refers to the third son of Adam and Eve, Seth, who remained faithful to God. And the daughters of men refers to the female descendants of the first son, Cain, which would have been a rebellious line. So the Nephilim were simply a product of the men who fell away from righteousness and intermarried with the line of Cain. Hence, the Nephilim were members of Cain's bloodline who rejected God. In regards to the Seth line theory, there is a lot of controversy on what sparked the original founding of this idea. However, the 5th century seems to be agreed upon when it was actually birthed. Some say it's because the church was moving away from the belief in the supernatural by 400 AD, while others say the worship of angels was actually becoming more popular by that time, so they came up with a new theory. An argument made against the Seth line theory is, how did the couple only produce male offspring? The Nephilim are just male. is what they say. And if they were just humans, how did they become giants? This brings us to the third theory, which would be considered a little more supernatural and maybe along the sensational side. In this theory, I call it the angel theory, they use Job 1:6 to support their view. It says, "Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, 'From where have you come?' Satan answered the Lord and said, 'From going to and fro on the earth and walking up and down on it.'" Here we see the sons of God were able to present themselves to the Lord along with Satan, who was traveling to and from the earth. I'm assuming they met God in a heavenly realm. The angel theory explains the phrase "the sons of God" refers to disobedient or fallen angels who took on human form and entered into a sexual union with human women. The first chapter in Jude is also cited for this argument. It says, "Now I want to remind you, although you once fully knew it, that Jesus, who saved a people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe. And the angels who did not stay within their positions of authority, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities, which likewise indulged in sexual immorality and pursued unnatural desire, serve as an example by undergoing a punishment of eternal fire." This is used as a supporting verse as the fallen angels indulged in sexual immorality, as we see in Genesis, and are still in chains awaiting their judgment day. And in 2 Peter, they also use this to support the idea. It says, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them into chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until judgment." Okay, so forgive me, this is where the angel theory gets a little, let's call it sci-fi-y, so just hang on. Some theorize since these were fallen angels mating with humans, their supernatural powers were passed to the half-human offspring, thus producing the Nephilim. The sons of God were morally evil and spiritually destructive if they were fallen angels. Now, you're probably asking, where's the evidence? Great question. Now, this is where we're going to go on a little tangent that's going to take us outside of Scripture. But just go with me here because I think it's important for you to know where they gather their arguments from. So one source is the ancient Hebrew apocalyptic religious text, the Book of Enoch, and then also the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, alert, side note, big side note, the Book of Enoch nor the Dead Sea Scrolls are inspired words of God, and they are not part of the canon. I do know this. You need to know this. If you don't, that's important to know. But this, again, is where some of the arguments for the angel theory comes from. So I'm going to let you know what they cite in the Book of Enoch, but I'm just saying, I know it's not God-breathed. I know it's not Scripture, but this is what they use. Okay. In the Book of Enoch, it's recorded that the sons of God taught the people sorcery and charms. Some say that the sons of God actually started tampering with genes, DNA, and hybrids. Basically, the sons of God brought fundamental evil to the world, and people theorize that they actually tainted the bloodlines and genes, making God's original human creation more and more scarce throughout the world. The Dead Sea Scrolls Book of Giants also tells the story of the Watchers, a group of fallen angels who mated with human women and produced the Nephilim, a race of giants. So, the angel theory does have to reach outside of Scripture to gain its support. However, it is interesting to note this account and story could be passed as a fable, but it's also found and referenced in multiple ancient texts. An argument made against the angel theory would be it's not possible for angelic beings to mate with humans. And to counter that argument, the angel-believing people, I guess I just call it the angelic theory, the angel theory people, would say if you look at the story where the angels visited Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot suggests that they come to his home and he washes their feet. So they had feet. It was either ceremonial or they were dirty because they were walking like humans. And they also made a note that they ate. So they were like humans. They had a digestive tract. They ate bread with Lot as well. So that's kind of their support for saying that angels can take on human form. So the counter argument to the angel theory is that the angels cannot mate with the humans, and this is how they put together their argument. And I took this from Forerunner commentary because it was written so straightforward. An often overlooked fact that shows that fallen angels cannot be the sons of God is that angels cannot reproduce. Jesus tells us in Mark 12:25 that in the resurrection, human beings will be like angels in heaven who neither marry nor are given in marriage. In Genesis, a principle that surfaces early is that a created kind only reproduces after its own kind. The physical law means that one class of creature can mate and reproduce among its own class. Like cats with cats produce really cute little kittens. Dogs with dogs produce really cute little puppies. Cats and dogs cannot produce a strange hybrid of their very different species. This principle is established in scientific fact. We know humans are fleshly, physical beings. That's evident in Genesis 2. Psalm 104 confirms that God makes his angelic spirits his ministers a flame of fire. And Hebrews 1:14 confirms this fact. It says, "Are angels not all ministering spirits?" Since human beings are composed of flesh and angels of spirit, they cannot be of the same kind. Angels cannot impregnate mortal women and produce anything. It is not possible for two distinct kinds to mate and reproduce. So again, this is the counter argument of the angel theory. So, in closing this research paper, in closing this Sons of God topic for today's episode, I think it's safe to say there isn't 100% black and white clear answer on who the sons of God were. And honestly, there's a lot of other theories. Some are super wild that are out there that I didn't even get into in this topic. But if you want to research more, feel free. There's so much information and just wild ideas on who the sons of God were. If you feel compelled to learn more, roll up your sleeves and dig in and do the research. There's a lot out there. I also feel like it's important to say, I believe that there are some things as humans that we just won't know. And that's why God is God and we are not. However, that doesn't mean we still can't have a little fun digging into topics and theories, debating our opinions and beliefs. As scripture says, iron sharpens iron. I feel like there is a lost appreciation for differing opinions when it comes to scriptural debate and topics. There's value to be found in friendships who can have varying views on theology or scriptural arguments and still edify each other by warmly challenging each other to do research, grow, and mature in our biblical understanding. Okay, friends. Well, we made it into 2 verses into this topic. Next episode, we will try to tackle the Nephilim. There's just so much debate on this topic. There's so much research to do. There might be at least 2 episodes on it. And I hope you'll all still stick with me, even as this hike takes us on an off-beaten path. So, what is a practical application for today? We'll find it in Isaiah 46. God declared, "Remember the former things, those of long ago. I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me. I make known the end from the beginning, from the ancient times what is still to come. I say my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please." As we spend time in this peculiar and argued topic, as we remember the former things of long ago, and our human minds cannot grasp all the details nor find all the explanations, we can stand like giants in the firm foundation given to us by God. He knows and He will make known the end from the beginning. His purpose will stand. And we can find peace in knowing what we don't know. He has a purpose in the unusual, in ancient times and in our lives today. Well, thanks for listening, friends, and sticking all the way through this episode. The next episode gets even a little more wild and wacky, so I hope you stick around for it. I'm actually really excited. Also wanted to give a quick update. We only lost 1 chicken after we left our coop open, so that was a gift, really. There were feathers everywhere, but the rest were safe, so that was wonderful. And I hope you all have great weeks, and I'll talk to you soon.